ladies and gentlemen. I first want to thank Mayor Lowe and Borough Council for inviting me here today. And I especially want to thank all of you for coming out this morning. About 2 weeks ago, I received a phone call while on my way to the Midwest asking me to come here today and speak. And at the end of the conversation, I was immediately filled with pride and honor for being asked to do this. My next thought was, my gosh, what am I going to talk about? And that answer came to me rather quickly. I had a couple of ideas running through my head. But in the Minneapolis airport, I ran into a lady, and she saw the veterans information on my shirt and asked me about it, and we determined that her brother and I were in Vietnam at the same time. And she was disappointed that he never shared any of his stories or experiences with her before he died. That was one of my ideas, and that cemented it. That wrapped it up for me. What I want to say is that so many of the men and women that we honor here today have left us and have taken their stories with them. And it's unfortunate. The World War I veterans are all gone. The World War II veterans are dying at better than 1,000 a day. The Korean and Vietnam War veterans are close behind. And it would be a shame to lose all of these stories. So I'm encouraging all veterans to share their stories with their loved ones and family and friends, and keep those stories alive. I'll share one with you today. This is a story that I am only remotely connected to. While I was on board the aircraft carrier America, sailing in the Tonkin Gulf off the coast of North Vietnam, June 18th, 1968. It was a typical day. Flight operations were going on, and about 75 aircraft left the ship that evening, all in search of targets in North Vietnam. One of those aircraft, an F-4J Phantom, was flown by Lieutenant Commander Huxclaw and Lieutenant Commander Burns. They left the deck, traveled deep into North Vietnam in search of their target, and on the way, they were hit in their starboard wing by a SAM missile. The two pilots were injured. They ejected and landed in a rice paddy. They were able to climb their way up a wooded bank and that offered them the most safety while they radioed for help. Hearing the distress call from them, a young Lieutenant J.G., Clyde Lassen, who was 27 years old, he heard the distress call and left the USS Preble in his light helicopter. He flew 60 miles inland in North Vietnam, found the crash site, found the two pilots. The pilots had lit flares to indicate their position so that Lieutenant Lawson would be able to hover and pick them up. The two pilots were surrounded by a great number of North Vietnamese Army regulars. And because of that rescue attempt went on for 4 hours. Lieutenant Lawson tried several occasions to go in and pick these gentlemen up. He even landed at one point, and every time he got close, he was taking an ungodly amount of fire from the enemy. As the supply of flares ran out, it was dark, and Lieutenant Lawson was down to about 30 minutes of fuel. He decided to give it one more try and turned on his landing lights to illuminate the area, knowing that would make him an even greater target. He was successful. He hovered at 50 feet. He got the two pilots out of there and into the chopper and made his way back. When he landed with those two pilots, his helicopter was extremely damaged. Countless bullet holes in it, and they even shot off one of the doors of the chopper. Lieutenant Lawson logged that mission into the record that day as a successful, routine search and rescue mission. Lieutenant Lawson was awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor.
And anyone who wishes to walk to the East Lawn Cemetery with police and the fire trucks in the rear, feel free to do so. And at the cemetery, the veterans' graves will be decorated by the Boy and Girl Scouts, and we can all return to the borough by either foot or on fire trucks. And now we'll have the benediction.
Seeking the peace that passes all human understanding, we go from this place grateful for the blessings of God upon our nation and upon each one of us. May we truly be agents of God's love. May we go from this place to nourish and to be nourished, knowing that God is ever with us. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll now have a few moments of silent prayer. That concludes this portion of Memorial Day celebration, and we'll now have the march to the cemetery.
Amen.